Something changed around 2012. Teenage mental health began to collapse. Anxiety, depression, self-harm, all skyrocketed. And the one thing most teens had in common, a smartphone. The Anxious Generation by psychologist Jonathan Haidt dives into the disturbing mental health crisis affecting kids and teens. Haidt argues that smartphones, social media, and a decline in real-world play have rewired childhood, and not in a good way. This isn't just opinion. It's backed by years of global data, cross-cultural studies, and a call to action for parents, educators, and society at large. Haidt's core argument is that we've unintentionally engineered a new kind of childhood, one that's digital, sedentary, and psychologically fragile. He calls it the shift from a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood. In a play-based childhood, kids interact face-to-face. They climb trees, argue on the playground, get bored, invent games, and, most importantly, learn social and emotional resilience. In contrast, a phone-based childhood traps kids indoors, staring at screens. Instead of resolving conflicts in person, they engage in filtered, curated, and often toxic social media interactions. The result is delayed emotional development, increased social comparison, and an epidemic of loneliness. Girls tend to internalize stress. They scroll, compare themselves to idealized influencers, and face relentless pressure to present a perfect image. This has fueled historic rises in anxiety, depression, and self-harm among teen girls. Boys face a different but equally damaging pattern, retreating into video games, YouTube, and pornography. Their risk isn't comparison, it's disconnection. Many are disengaging from school, friendships, and even their own futures. Haidt makes it clear, smartphones aren't neutral tools. They're developmental disruptors, and their effects are most damaging during adolescence, when the brain is still wiring up for adult life. To understand how online culture affects young minds, Haidt reintroduces what he calls the Four Great Untruths, cultural myths that have taken root and warped how kids see themselves in the world. The first, what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. This flips resilience on its head. Instead of seeing challenges as opportunities for growth, kids are taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. Microaggressions, differing opinions, even everyday social friction, all become threats rather than normal parts of life. This mindset turns the world into a minefield and makes kids more anxious, not less. Second, always trust your feelings. Emotions matter, but this untruth elevates feelings above logic or perspective. If you feel unsafe, then you are unsafe. If you feel offended, then offense must be intended. Haidt warns that this breeds a culture of fragility, where personal interpretation replaces shared reality. Third, life is a battle between good people and evil people. Social media thrives on tribalism, turning every disagreement into moral warfare. Young people are encouraged to divide the world into allies and enemies, rather than develop empathy or nuance. This makes online discourse toxic and stifles genuine dialogue. And fourth, you are fragile. This is the most damaging myth of all, that kids can't handle difficulty, stress, or failure. When we overprotect them from every risk, we rob them of the chance to build strength. And ironically, that protection creates the very fragility we fear. These four untruths, amplified by algorithms and peer validation, undermine the psychological foundations kids need to thrive. This isn't just a generational complaint. It's a crisis supported by neuroscience and social psychology. Haidt presents global studies showing mental health declining most rapidly in nations with high social media use. He explains how adolescent brains, still developing, are especially vulnerable to the dopamine feedback loops of likes, shares, and algorithmic validation. What used to be face-to-face bullying is now 24/7 cyber pressure. So what can we do? Haidt offers 4 bold reforms. Delay smartphones until high school. Ban phones during the school day. Delay social media until at least age 16. And most importantly, restore free play and independence in real life. These aren't just rules, they're a blueprint to rescue childhood before it's fully consumed by screens. The anxious generation is more than a diagnosis. It's a wake-up call. Because if we don't change course, the next generation may grow up connected to the world, but disconnected from themselves. and that's a price too high to pay. If you found this eye-opening, hit like, share with a parent or educator, and let us know in the comments. Do you think kids should have smartphones before high school? Or are we just overreacting to change? Let's talk, let's think, and let's protect the future.